starting the stream. Finn, what are we gonna do with you?
I'm a menace.
Menace to society, yeah.
I am.
In the annoyer.
I cannot be trusted.
We're live. Hello.
We are.
Hello, skewers. Welcome to
Don't continue to talk about the thing we were just talking about since we're live.
Welcome to the bunker on Friday night with RSG. I am T McVenom. This is Delete. And we have Finity. It's going to be just us three chilling tonight. Welcome to anyone that's here watching. It's going to be a low-key stream, a 1 hour stream. Keeping it down. Stream. Low key, not Loki. Although I would love to have Loki on one day. Oh. That would be awesome. Hey, sexy wolf. We're going to talk a little bit about the whole 6 to 8 plasma thing. I'm going to go over that a bit, but we have Capital. Is Capital tomorrow? SVS is tomorrow.
Capital's tomorrow for us. They canceled SVS for 125.
So we have it in 359. So,
wait, they canceled SVS in 125?
Yeah, they were just like, sorry, we're not doing it. You're going to have regular Capital. Even though it said SVS in the beginning, it was like 9 days until SVS. And then they're like, sorry, we're canceling.
Eric B said the normal 11 p.m. then. No, we're legit going to keep it short. Really, honestly. I had a whole house full of sickness and we're just exhausted. So we're going to keep it short. But it'll be a fun one. We're going to talk about the plasma stuff. How's it going, guys? Finn, what is the surprise that you're talking about?
Nothing. Continue.
That was the surprise.
I hate it when he does that. I hate it when he does that. I hate surprises. I don't like surprises where people say you have a surprise and then don't tell you about it until much later. I like surprises where they say, oh, here's a surprise and here it is. Right then.
Instant gratification.
I like instant gratification. I don't like delayed not knowing things. It bothers me.
Then that's not a surprise.
Well, it is if it's like, surprise!
Exactly.
It's your birthday.
That's a surprise.
It's supposed to, I have a surprise for you because I completely forgot today's our anniversary.
That's not a good surprise. Welcome, Eric B and Ronnie K. Hi, everyone. Eric B said, how do you get those Migo points? Oh, there's so many ways for Migo points. Actually, we had a bunker stream where I kind of went over a lot of the Migo points, but it's through basically the same event stuff that you do daily. There's the intel tasks. I'll have to go look at all of them, but like it's survival of the fittest. They have a Migo event where you get Migo points for that. Through Reservoir Raid, Capital Clash, you'll get Migo points. I think Capital Clash, you'll get Migo points. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure. And then they have these special events called the dig sites where you dig up things. Delete was just talking about the dig event. And do you guys we have Migo on 125 now?
Yeah. So it's like, I'm up to the point where you can like upgrade the test tubes in a little like room or whatever. And I was just, it's just a bunch of stuff to tap, really. I was like, oh.
It is, but if you get into the other, like the meteor parts of it, once you get them leveled up, because the first leveling is just to give you more Migo points as you do those events. But then when you get into it more, then you're going to have things like Alliance CC buffs, like your Alliance health buffs. You're going to have like the Wall Breaker max strength or cooldown. I can't remember what it does, but it helps build up the Wall Breakers. So there's a lot of different... Nikki says, I'm doing so well. Of course you are, Nikki. You're Nikki.
She was up there on like a leaderboard. I was like, holy. But it was like, I don't know. I was like, I didn't do too much digging into it. All puns intended, I guess. Because they were like, oh, there's green digs and there's purple digs and there's blue digs. And it was like, then it's like, oh, sometimes it's like if you ditch a dig, which it doesn't really let you have to alert somebody else to get it before you can. So if you find a green that you don't want, you have to like go ahead and alert or wait for someone else to find it before you can move on to the next one and not use a key on it. But
Yeah, so that's funny because when they first did the Migo event in the test servers, they didn't have the levels like that. And so they've updated that. So I haven't even got a chance to play the one with the different colored digs and like which ones are good ones versus the bad ones and stuff. So that's interesting that they have that in there. Eric B said, I'm watching people who I was well ahead of pass me now. Yeah, there's an element to spending too that is obviously involved to some of every event now, it seems like. So, yeah, it's just like with Survival of the Fittest or any other event, you can get extra by spending. So, yeah, you can use stamina to leave it. What are you talking about? The digs? Oh yeah, you can leave a dig. Did you know that, Delete?
yeah, it's like 30 stamina or spamina, which is, I don't know. It's all right. I didn't know which, if it was just like related to the stamina in like, I thought you would lose like, I don't know, like Daryl Explorer mission stamina if you didn't do it. You know, I didn't know that just related to like the 200 stamina that you get for doing Explorer missions, period. That's kind of like, meh. I've already got so many extra crates, you know, that just fill that up. It's not even a big deal if I lose it. So now that I know that, I'll just ditch it all the time.
Yeah.
Or whenever it's not like a good one or whatever.
So like I think a lot of people can get in the state warfare. Like if you're spending a shit ton in the state warfare, you're gonna get really high in your Migo points too. So there's a lot. Then the cool thing is the big events where you have the ones that are similar to Commute Town. You know, you have some of those state events in there as well, which I don't think you guys have gotten to yet, right? It happens like third weekend, fourth weekend, I can't remember. Anyway.
Not there yet.
Finn, what are you doing? What is the big surprise?
Doing my intel.
What is the big surprise?
Nothing. Continue.
Well, then talk to us.
We don't have the Migo event in 359. What do you want me to tell you? I have no clue what you're talking about because 359 is left out of the Migo event. So you tell me, how should I contribute?
Let's talk.
I love
streaming
fancy
in your
digs, face, by the way.
So I am pretty sure that Delete would look good in purple digs. I think he would look good in green digs.
All Denzel, Washington. Good.
See, so what exactly? So how am I supposed to contribute to the conversation if the state doesn't even have it that I play in?
All right, smart ass. Let's get on with it.
What am I supposed to say? The Migo event is fantastic. It starts with an M and ends with an O, and there's an egg in the middle. I think it's a great title.
You know what? Yeah. Don't listen to Finn. I'm going to put out the first code, actually, right now, which I'm going to force Finn to do eventually, and it is Hot Tub is On. He is so sassy tonight, Nikki.
It's Hot Tubison. It's the name of the person who invented the hot tub.
On.
His name is Hot Tubison.
I believe it's Tubison.
Hot Tubison. Thank you.
Tubison.
Sorry. I don't know if he was French. It's possible. But yes.
Hot Tub is On. That's what we're trying to convince Finn to do, a hot tub stream, because everybody just wants to see Finn in a hot tub.
I don't know why.
Fun. Because it would be hilarious. The awkwardness that would ensue with you being awkward in a hot tub. I think it would be great.
And does sound pretty enticing.
You could do Zombie Friday from the hot tub. That would be excellent.
I could drink a zombie coffee.
Oh yeah.
In the Zombie Friday hot tub.
I left my mug at work today.
Is someone gonna jack you for your stuff?
Yes, somebody might jack it. Honestly,
that's pretty tough.
Wrong.
I mean, you don't understand nurses. Nurses are
no.
Thieves.
Stop saying things. Just stop. saying
Nurses are
Yeah.
thieves. They will
Nurses?
take anything that is laying around. Pens,
Oh
bags,
my god.
cups.
Utah,
nurses
do not
get
clip
paid to
any of
jack
this.
it.
If Utah is listening, do not clip any of this. None of it.
Man. All right. Now I'm all worried. Now I might have to go by work and get my mug tomorrow. So nobody gets it before Monday. All right. Anyway, yeah, Finn, give us our sponsor spiel. That's what you can do, Mr. Sassafras.
Do you ever feel like you're starting off your day and you're just missing that particular something? Maybe it's a red thermos that has some special words listed on it. Well, head to work and make sure that you fill up that special red container with zombie coffee, and make sure it has zombie coffee on the inside. Because if you leave this thermos lying around, some nurse is going to come and steal it. That's right, zombie coffee.
And a jacket.
This is the coffee that nurses like to steal.
And jack them.
Yeah. Nurses are going to jack them.
Nurses will jack it.
What? Stop saying it.
I don't know.
Why
It's
do
so
you
funny
keep
now.
saying that? That is going to end up as a sound clip. You
Yeah,
know
right.
that.
Eric B said nurses will jack you. Noted.
Mm.
Let's
It's going
see.
to end up as a sound clip now.
Head-
This is not
head
this
nurse.
is-
The head nurse will jack it.
You just said head nurse.
Well, thank you everyone for watching this episode of The Bunker. There's nowhere to go but down at this point.
Okay.
That's our high point right there. That's our high
So
point.
Ronnie K said that he thought everyone got the Migo event. No, they did not.
No.
They released he did like a little, they did something. Where is it at? I can get you the notice and see which ones they released it on, but it was only select servers. It's pretty disappointing, but I mean, there's quite a few of them. Let me try to find it. No, I'm not going to find it. Never going to find it. It's way too far up in the announcements. But yes, there was like a range of servers that got it. That will be next week's code. It's going to be head nurse. No, they're not that predictable. What?
It would be hilarious. That would be hilarious.
Wouldn't it though? Okay. So what we're going to talk about is there was a message from the developers that came out. Because as we all know, there's been like everywhere on Discord, all through everybody's Discord, there's been these sneak peeks from, I think it started with originally with the French server, somehow got them. And it's Plasma 6 through 8. It shows all the buildings, and then there's the new stuff on it, and it's just incredibly scary. But the devs, I guess they saw how everyone was reacting. They put out a little message that says, following some of the comments and discussion we saw on our official Discord, we wanted to share with you some details from our game team regarding the Plasma 6 through 8. This feature is currently under development, and as such, our game team has put the graphics items into the State of Survival game client, but all details are not yet at a stage to be fully confirmed, and the possibility is high that they may change drastically before reaching their final status of release. Finally, we don't have any plans to release the Plasma 6 to 8 for the moment, and we will be sure to share more information on the progress of its development as soon as we can communicate it to you all. So that was their big, huge thing. And then they did talk about Red Gear coming out in states 1 through 39 or something like that, or 49. I can't remember. So they are putting out the Red Chief gear. They didn't put it out to a lot of other states because something they were trying to keep Reservoir League like contained with no Red Gear into Reservoir League that didn't have it. So the Plasma, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do about this. I'm very conflicted about it because, as I was telling the guys earlier, I do feel it's good that they're trying to still make content for max level players, because that's very important to keep the people that have spent the most money in the game and they're the most active in the game, which generally a max player is the most active in a game, to keep them happy and keep them going in activity. However, it sucks. My point is, it sucks that they're working on this before figuring out what to do with all of these older states that have like way inferior gameplay now, like a completely different game that is not able to do anything with. Like, I feel like their attention is moving away and not focusing on what needs to happen to fix this issue. That's my big issue with it. What do you guys think? Finn, I know you have some kind of weird counter.
Well, I'll just ask you a question. What's easier for them to do? The state migration or introducing new plasma 6 through 8?
Well, yeah. State migration's easy. I mean, the 6 through 8 plasma is easier.
Yeah. So what makes you think they're not trying to do these things in parallel? You're saying as if they had to pick one or the other.
I think that if you have a good development team and a good community manager that knows that this is going to flip people the hell out, that you keep this on lockdown while you're working simultaneously until you have some actual good news about mergers or migration.
So
like, you don't release information like this before you've gotten people back into at least some hopeful opinions about the game.
So older states that have players that are already quitting, right?
Yeah.
That are bored, haven't had anything to spend on in a while, right?
Yeah.
They should be catered to versus the states that are in the middle zone that many are just getting maxed out. They're still getting competitive. They're still willing to spend. They can introduce plasma 6 through 8, get them to continue to spend while still working on the older players.
No,
I don't see the logic of them not introducing 6 through 8.
No, because a lot of the players that are still in the older states are still spending money. We talked to one earlier is still spending a lot of money. They're still spending tons, and they would spend more if they knew that migration and mergers was going to happen with their main accounts. They would max out to 8. But the problem is when they're talking about maxing out to 8 without any good information about whether this is going to be a valid thing that they can use their account somewhere else, they may not put that investment in that they would have before.
Yeah, but if state migration isn't going to be ready, why would you delay it just for the older states when you can get it from all the other states that would spend? You're catering to this very small group of older players, and I understand because you guys are older players. But from a business perspective, there is no reason why they need to delay something, fix something with these older states. Maybe
from morality and community contentment standards then. Maybe not
community
from a money
contentment
standard.
For who? It's just the older states, which are losing players anyway. There's no way to add players really to the older states.
So you're saying... You're playing devil's advocate. I get that. I love that.
No, I legitimately would take this position from a business perspective.
You would say,
I would say
it is the
dumbest thing. Yeah, it is the dumbest thing for them to have something new that they could introduce into the game and delay it because they haven't fixed one particular part that would be helping the older players. You don't delay one thing because of another thing unless they're directly related.
Like what, 400 states that we're talking about? 300 states?
400 states what?
That we're talking about that have a different game than the newer states?
Well, I know, but it's not just the newer versus... So what do you
keep saying small percentage.
How many of... Okay, so when we're talking about older states versus newer states, right? Up to what state level do you think is really at the point that...
There's 3 versions of the game right now.
Forget about the versions of the game.
No.
That doesn't matter.
That does absolutely matter.
How many states do you think are in need of migration because of population issues in their
I would say at
state?
least up to 200. I would say at least up to 200.
And what state are we at? We're like at 700 something?
Who knows?
I don't think we're at 700 at 1,000 yet. But I think
it's like 7 something.
It's probably 700s or so, right?
So, yeah. So just a little over a third of the game.
Let's say a third of the game, right? So 2/3 of the game have people that would be spending on this new content. You have 1/3 that wouldn't. So you would not take income from 2/3 of the state because 1/3 of the state is waiting for a change that who knows what the plan is.
So, okay. But that 1/3 that are your veteran players, that are your streamers, that are your ones that are creating the content for Discord, creating the bots for Discord, creating all the information that comes out for players in this game are all older states. So you're bad press, bad juju, number one. You're also letting the players that are in the newer states that are investing a lot of money know that as fast as they're taking out states, let's say somebody in state 400 and something, they've got to realize at some point they will, because of all the negativeness, all the negativity that's coming from a move like this. They will read, they will know that this is what's happening, and their account might not be something they should invest money in until after they understand whether or not they'll be able to move it later. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't, as a new player coming in and realizing that this is kind of the environment going on, and that they've been talking about migration and merge for a while and they're not doing anything, and they just keep asking for more and more investment from players without giving the people that have invested a lot of money any kind of forward momentum action. I wouldn't want to invest anymore as a new player coming in. Once I learn that, because every new player, they hit 30, they will learn that. They're going to learn that.
So I would say on the opposite side, though, if I saw a game that was delaying every release in this game, if they were delaying any releases of increased plasma on the building, if they suddenly decided, well, you know, we need to get the migration going, we don't want older players to be spending money without migration on heroes, so then they stopped hero releases, right? If I saw a game that just stopped releasing things because they were focused on one game mode and they just couldn't figure out the best way to do it, so they delayed everything else, I would say that is the dumbest model and not have to spend at all.
No.
Because that means my state would be stagnant for an extended amount of time. Why would I spend?
I don't understand why there has to be like a stagnant 6 months of no changes to do this one thing. Other games
there's two different things we're talking about.
The other games have figured this out and have done it. There's no need for them to reinvent the wheel.
That's a different topic, though. So there's two different things going on here. One is their failure to do state migration.
He's cutting me off.
Is their failure to do state migration. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I actually agree with you. Their failure to do state migration has been awful.
It is, and the fact that you're saying that they should stop all their income coming in to focus on this one thing. No, it's been a long time coming. They should take a month and say, everybody, you're working your ass off for a month. We're paying overtime. We're going to get this handled so we can get it out of the way, and then we'll move on to new stuff. I'm not asking for like 6 months of stalemates of them not adding new stuff. Give us 2 weeks and figure out the damn migration thing, and then put it out, and then let's move on. Like,
you're misunderstanding my point, though.
What was your point?
I don't think they're capable of figuring out state migration.
That is bullshit. They are capable. They
How
might
long
not
have
be.
they had?
They might not be.
How many
willing.
times in the Discord have we seen some mention of state migration?
100% capable. They aren't willing, because the capable part is saying that they are going to lose money in some way, or they're not going to make as much money as they plan or want to make with migration, so they can't figure out how to make money off of it, so they're not going to do it. That is not willing to do it, not that they're not capable of doing it.
So if they're not willing to do it, then again, why stop Plasma 6 through 8?
That is the whole problem. This is the whole issue I have with it. It's not that they can't do migration. It's that they won't do migration, and they still continue to push out shit like this without working on the migration or saying, you know what, it's just not going to happen. Because then my whole thing is the limbo. Like, if they would just say, look, migration's not going to work. We can't figure out how to do it. Here, we'll give you guys, 1/4 of your investment if you want to move to a new state, and let's be done with it. And just say they can't do it. But they're stringing it out saying, we're working on it, we're working on it, we're working on it. But then while they're saying that, people are like, okay, well, do I invest more money? Like someone like Delete. Plasma 8's going to come out. He still doesn't know whether he should spend up to keep his account leveled up, or if he should just say, F it, I should just move on. Because they won't come out with anything. If they would come out with it and just say one way or the other, then they could have the losses and the exodus happen and then move on with their new stuff. Like, that's my issue. It's like...
Yeah. No, you said it perfect. Your issue is not with Plasma 6, 7, and 8.
No, it's not.
Your issue is with state migration. That's why I don't want to put this in the context of Plasma 6 through 8. But Plasma 6 through 8 would happen in parallel. It is completely exclusive of what's happening with state migration.
It's not
the upset part is that state migration keeps getting delayed, so you're seeing other things going on at the same time. But the issue is not Plasma 6 through 8. There's nothing wrong with them releasing Plasma 6 through 8. The problem is how long they have delayed with state migration. And we've said this every week for the past, I think, like 2-3 months, that they needed to do something. So their issue is not the release of Plasma 6 through 8. I think people are conflating the two issues because they're waiting for state migration and they're seeing other things coming in. But state migration is a separate issue altogether from Plasma 6 through 8. So if there's an issue with Plasma 6 through 8, right, it shouldn't be related to state migration. That's my point.
But it is.
6 through 8 by itself, I think, makes sense. The game has been at Plasma 5 for a while. They just released Plasma.
You can't take two separate things and say that they are completely different. You can't compare them when they're part of the same game that affects a person's gameplay altogether. That is, even though they might be two separate features, they affect the gameplay as one. Everything in it affects somebody's gameplay. And so, yes, I can talk about the two together because it does make the gameplay. But that's that's an overall assessment of the game, right? If you're assessing Finn,
just Plasma 6 through 8.
I swear to gosh.
Is there any issue that you have with them releasing Plasma 6 through 8 that doesn't tie to state migration? That's my one question. Plasma 6 through 8, right? We've been at Plasma 5 for a while. They just released T11.
Not yet, because I don't know how much it's going to cost.
Okay.
I don't know how much it's going to cost, and I don't know how, fast they're releasing it on each state kind of thing. There's all these details that will make a difference to whether I would have a problem with it in general. So I don't know. But
no, and that's fair. That's what I'm saying. Everyone's poo-pooing 6 through 8 all of a sudden.
Well, yes.
But it's mainly just because state migration hasn't been released.
But we can. We can poo-poo it because of that reason. We don't have to not poo-poo it.
I don't think it's fair.
Based off of that. Well,
yeah.
I don't think it's fair. We don't have state migration. So here we are talking about it. So it's.
I agree. I agree state migration needs to happen, and they've delayed way too long on that already. But I'm not going to use that to judge whether or not
I absolutely will, because it's part of the game. They're part of the development team that's making this game, so I can use one feature to say that it's not fair to add this feature because of another feature. So
they're not allowed to introduce any new feature until they get state migration.
So wait a minute. So when you have a feature that, like last time, you said that you were upset because one feature was taken away from the other one because we had to pick and choose, blah 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 blah. Those are two separate features, and you shouldn't be able to judge.
Hold on. What was the context?
You shouldn't be able to judge this one because you had to pick and choose what to use your stamina on, and blah 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 blah. Remember? That's why you didn't like that one.
Yeah, they had two. They had stamina that
features.
Could be used for two different events at the same time.
Those are two separate features. You shouldn't be able to. It's not fair that you're judging them that way.
How? Okay, so I have a single.
Oh, you hear what I'm doing? Delete. He's going to turn around and make some kind of logical play.
You have a single use. You have a single stamina,
like a pure apple
and it has to be the source for two different events.
It doesn't have to be apple
to
apple.
I do like it.
It's the fact that. It's the fact
it doesn't make any sense, but okay if it makes you feel
just gonna sit here and be really quiet. I think this might be the longest time that I've never said anything on the show.
Oh my gosh!
I do appreciate your attempt to try and turn it around on me.
Okay,
but it makes no sense.
So Finn obviously doesn't care that anybody else has feelings about this 6 to 8 in terms of migration. You shouldn't be able to...
Is your point that they shouldn't release anything until they do state migration?
My point was not that. My point was...
So then what's the problem with 6 through 8?
Because you're asking people to take a huge investment, something they've already invested a lot of money, and they're debating on whether or not to invest more into, and you're telling them that they're going to spend a whole shit ton more in it without knowing whether that account can move forward.
Yeah.
That's the migration factor of it when you're talking about plasma upgrade, because that is really giving them an ultimatum, because either a max player is max, right? And if they want to keep their account level with other max players in their state, they have to spend that money. They have to. That's just what they have to do. So they're now forcing the hand of someone that is in a state 125 to say, okay, now they're pulling out plasma 8, so now I've got to drop another 10K versus just quitting the game. If they would have not done that and set out the migration, then that choice would have been a little bit easier to make with some knowledge into it. But now they're forcing them to make that choice.
I'll ask Delete a question. Do you feel like they're stringing along state migration and they're never going to do it?
Yes. I don't think it's never going to happen, but I definitely do feel like they're stringing it along. I feel like they planned out like the level of heroes, because heroes is the first thing that just about everyone will buy. Even the person that's like not even like a big spender, like a casual spender, will be like, oh, new heroes are out? Let me buy the 5 and the 10 package of those heroes. So it's an instant like money grab when new heroes comes out. So I think they were like, I think we can kind of get away with one more batch of heroes coming out before we actually have to do this. And they probably planned out the heroes much further along or much further out than they have state migration. State migration, before they even really started considering it, was what, 3 months ago when they were like, we're really getting serious about
Yeah.
this. Now we're really getting serious. Like heroes, they've known about forever. It's not the, at least if not the exact artwork, they've known about the progression. Like we want to be at 1,000% or 1,200% by this point in the game. I think the biggest thing when it comes to this is just the fact that once you realize in this game that the spending you put in goes absolutely nowhere when your state dies, that's when you go, wait. Why am I spending again? That's when the realization is, because that's what you're seeing. You're seeing recycling of accounts big time. Where people are just like, I quit. I'm just going to give my account to someone that's still playing. That's like free to play, that's still out there. And now they're jumping up whatever levels because they're like, the spender's like, well, I'm not going to spend anymore. And free to play kind of goes nowhere. So I might as well just give my base up. So that's where that's going. And then once that starts to filter down into the community, where it's just like, hey, don't spend on this game. Because once your state dies, the game dies. So all that money you put in goes absolutely nowhere. And you're like, wow, man, what? No, it's got to continue. They've got to like move you around, right? And they're like, no, they don't do that. Then people are like, wow, I've really taken a look at it and that sucks. And you don't want that to happen. So they have to do something. Whether it's releasing that or doing that, you have to go ahead and do something. I think the other thing is, and just to kind of like summarize, it's like you've got a restaurant, right? And your restaurant was built on its favorites, right? Whatever it is, hot dogs, ice cream, whatever it is. And then you go ahead and you just ditch the hot dog and ice cream because you're successful now, and you just start doing, creme brulee and waffles. And it's like you just ditch everyone that got you there got you to being a success and completely changed everything about it. And you're just like, yeah, sorry, we're just a different restaurant. Eventually the original people are just going to be gone. And then those original people that are just going to be there are probably just going to continue to play the game until you don't want to update it and they can get a refund.
It's true.
Because they're going to drown you, because they're just going to continually log in to drown you. Because you have to go ahead and just continue to dedicate servers for those people just in case they log in. So it's bad.
I truly, truly, truly think that they are delaying it intentionally. And I know that devs are watching and they're probably going to be pissed at me for saying this. I really do truly feel that they are dragging their feet on it because they know that there's a way to do this. But the way that the other games do it and do it really well. There's, Rise of Kingdoms, there's Infinity Kingdom right now is doing it. There's tons of other ones that have the same format, the same state format, the gear, everything. They're doing it. But the way that they need to do it is not going to make them a lot of money. And it might even, I don't even know if it would cost them money, but it's not going to make them any money. And it's probably going to take a lot of time. And I really honestly feel like they're dragging their feet because they're trying to release things like New Heroes and Plasma 8 because they are not going to offer it to anybody. And what they want is someone like Delete to say, well, they're talking about it. So I'll go ahead and boost up to Plasma 8 real quick. I'll go ahead and boost up to Plasma 8, and if they don't do the merge, then I'll quit. And I really feel like they're trying to just suck out just the last little bit of money they can out of the old states before they completely just say, you know what, this isn't going to happen, or this is our solution, which is a totally shit solution, and nobody wants it, and so they quit, and then they can just move on. I really, truly feel like they're just trying to suck the last little bit out of the states, the older states. And I think that's what irritates me. Because, I understand what you're saying, Finn. They're a business. They can't deal with emotions or semantics or, nostalgia or any of that crap. But at the same time, you also have to keep your community somewhat content and motivated to keep playing. And contentment in a game is the longevity in a game, and the more longevity you have making this game, the more money you're going to make in the long run. And I just feel like games like Game of War, towards that end, that's what that happened when they were dying out. They made a whole lot of money up front, but then the community contentment died out super quick because of those things. And I just feel like that's going to happen here. It might not. Who knows? There's a lot of people spending a lot of money in new states. It probably won't for a while.
This might surprise
I would
you.
imagine that they've also seen the fact that, because you can create so many bases. So they've seen the like older state people already jump to the newer state.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it's like, I'm unwilling to restart the state of survival journey again, because it's like, well, what if they change the game again, and then they just leave me behind again?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to go ahead and redo it to have to go ahead and redo it again.
Yeah.
That does not seem appealing. Yeah, could I? But no, I'm not, because of what I've seen.
Also, it's a sense of fairness and like just righteous indignation to where like you want to dig in your heels and be like, no, I've invested $30K into this account. I'm not fucking doing it. I'm not moving to another state. Like, that's not fair. And I tell my kids this all the time. Fair has nothing to do with anything. Fair is just a word somebody created. Life is not fair. The world is not fair. Fair is not a thing. But you can't help that sense of like, this should be fair. Like, I've put a ton of money in this and I'm paying for a product and a service. I should get something like tangibly long lasting out of it. But they did a bait and switch with us. They said that this is your investment and this is what you have, and then everybody up to 200 it just got bait and switched on them. Like, it just kind of sucks.
And I understand the continually asking people for money. The continual growth of an account is that, that's a business model of every mobile game. But the difference between every mobile game and this one is this is a finite set parameter. And other mobile games like Swaga or, like Marvel Contest of Champions or anything like that, whenever they institute a new hero, it's like you're still involved in the global community, not just the 1,000 players that it selected randomly in the beginning and then locked you in the same pen with. You're in a jail cell that never opens, and only is that's your day to day, and yeah, sure, you could go outside, maybe see like a different wing, but then you got to come right back, get right back in that jail. And that's the problem. You can't do both. You can't continually ask people for money to continually have the same fight over and over. Well, because Alliance Throwdown and Showdown aren't enough.
No, I agree.
Like, I shouldn't be facing people that are in state 398 when I'm in 125 in Alliance Throwdown. It just doesn't make any sense.
In a dead state.
They've got a lot more to grow, and I don't.
Yeah.
So why
they
is
have
that
a lot more activity too. Well, the thing is, I think we need to make it very clear, like, because Finn said, is your problem with 6, 7, and 8, this new plasmas? Absolutely not. I am 100% with new content. I am not one of those people that's like, oh, great, now we have new things. No, that's not. I think you have to have new things for max players. Like, that's how you keep them spending. That's how you keep the money funded, the game funded. That's how they keep it available for free to play. Like, I understand the game mechanics and economics, that's necessary, and you got to have new content. It's just the timing and the way this was drug out and why that's what bothers me. I feel like there's an intent behind it. Go ahead. What?
I actually agree with everything you said. I think they
What?
I've said it. It's not anything new.
You just got to argue the point.
They are delaying state migration for whatever the reason is.
I think so too.
They are delaying it. But the reason I asked Delete as to whether or not he thinks they're kind of like stringing him along, he's still playing.
Yeah.
So what is the incentive for them to introduce state migration if there's people in the older states? If they introduce plasma 6 through 8, will drop the money in order to get 6 through 8, knowing full well for the past like 3 months They've randomly thrown the word migration in their SOS Discord. They've randomly had these things. They've had a dev come out and try to clarify a post that came out. Like, it's not the first time they've acknowledged they've talked about state migration. It's been like 3 months. So at what point do you realize they just don't care about state migration and you actually stop spending money?
Well, that's a question.
And until you hit that point, they're not going to care.
That's what, honestly, Leo said this. He said, this is a big deal. As long as new states are getting created every couple days, they're doing pretty good in terms of money. Devs will give merge once they stop. And once the older players, like you said, like that's what I think they're doing. They are sucking all the money they can out of the older states because there's still some money coming in. So why put it out? So they're just delaying it, and then getting as much money as they can. And then when the money stops, they will put out either a crappy merge or like make a merge happen and hope that they can bring some of those back in. But that's really what I think is going to happen. The only way to stop that is to stop spending money in the older states. And we know that doesn't work. We know that whole don't spend money whole brouhaha.
There's always someone.
That never works.
There's always someone that's like, oh yeah, I'm not spending any money. And then someone's up there and survival of the fittest.
Well, that's the nature of the
Killing
beast.
it.
Because if you got a $30K investment and then everybody agrees not to spend money and then some DT decides to just like, oh, well, this is the perfect time for me to boost my account up higher than everybody else's and ruin a $30K investment for someone else. I mean, that's just not smart for you not to do that. You know what I'm saying?
But that's the other thing though. Like, DT boosts his account. What is he actually winning? Okay, he can win every bunker and facility. What are the rewards for bunkers and facilities? Is anything worth a damn at that point?
Maddie frags, man.
Yeah,
it's not
Maddie,
about
Nicola frags.
You know this, D. It's not about the rewards. It's about the ego.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
But
this is a competitive
like
game.
Even like
you go for
me,
the win. You don't care about the rewards necessarily. You go to try and win.
Yeah, which is why res raid is the most important thing, because that is the one thing that you really don't put money into, to get back, unless you're speeding marches, which I do and I'm fine with. But it's like, or buying like a billion relocators. That's the one thing that people really like about the game. And that's the one-to-one competition. It's like, hey, I think I've been fairly matched, even though it's never really that fairly matched. Let's go ahead and see who's better at strategy, and go from there. I think that's why people really like the game. And as you're growing, everyone's that much closer. But now there's such a big divide.
Oh, such a big, huge gap. I think, but I think
they're
trying. I really do think they're trying to bridge the gap a little bit, or not make it so enormous to where like lower levels and smaller alliances can't play the game anymore because everybody's so strong that are spenders. I think they are trying. Like, you got this new wall breaker thing. Even though it's only one small feature, it's a big feature that could possibly be a big deal, like, for events. So I think they're trying. I don't know. There's some other things that they tried. Leo is like, I love to see Leo's ranting because he's got the whole devil's advocate thing too. He said, on the other argument, once merge and migration is done, what will players do? Cry for more? Not fixing gameplay is the issue. I think they should release new plasma. People will cry anyways. There is new content for all states now. Changes are done, so new plasma is required. Mm-hmm. If players don't know about leaked P8, would there be any discussion or something? What?
I mean, it wouldn't be any different than normal. I actually think that I think if we could have a discussion about what is coming in P6 through P8, it would be a good discussion. But the discussion about state migration being delayed is something that's going to happen for a while, because that's what the game needs, especially with the older states, to kind of keep older players involved. But truth is, at some point, there needs to be the realization that, they're just not doing it until people stop spending. And there's enough people that are willing to spend without state migration that they just don't care. And the model that they're using with these states and McVenom can see this because she's gone into one of the 600 states now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is effectively they are releasing new states in order to test out what the best version of the game is what it looks like. So you have 125 on one version, you have 359 on another version, you have like 650 on a different version, and they're trying to figure out what the best version is, because multiple versions is the dumbest thing for any game to keep. At the same time, keeping 3 different versions of the exact same game is a really, really dumb idea. It prevents you from doing anything across the board because there's just inequality everywhere. So one of the biggest problems with state merges, 359 has a bunch of towers and centers, 125 has nothing. So how do you merge? Like you completely reduce the ability to merge 125 with all the states. You're stuck with like a small group of states. So they've effectively hindered their own ability to do some of this work because of how they designed this. So now if they continue to release new versions, like this game is in a process of newer states being the better version every single time until they find the version that they like, and then maybe they'll stick with it. But who knows, maybe that comes at state 1500 because new players are coming at the same time. So 1500 and beyond is like the best version of the game, and that's going to be the permanent one. And then, we're going to provide state migration for every state 1500 and above because all the games are the same. So there you go. We introduced state migration.
I mean, it's like, I don't know, does Apex really want me? And, you know, like if I wanted to just join 359, like my old account wasn't there or my other account wasn't there, you know, like, does he want to see a 700 million BP player come in?
Oh, yeah, he does.
You know, like.
Oh, yeah. Apex would want you to come in there, and
he's
he
a
would.
I don't want to different beast. You don't.
He would try to rally you like every day just for no reason.
He would throw every single infantry to 'to the last man at you. You don't. He's a different weirdo beast. You just don't even.
You know, like I don't want to see Arter. I don't want to see a 1.4 billion.
But you know what's funny about that? You won't, because like people like you won't see.
State migration's not coming, so yeah, you won't.
They'll never do it.
It's not even that. It's honestly they're quitting. They're quitting, like, you know, like, look at Sweet Tits of Fury here. She's quit. She was a huge account. She's quit. And she was a big feature in Reservoir League, which was a big money maker for them. The older states Reservoir League was their only thing that they were really doing. But now you have people quitting that. So it's like, I don't know. I just think, damn it, make me one of these, get me in one of these circles. Get me in one of these dev circles to talk to people about how to do this, because like it cannot be this difficult.
It's not. The question ultimately is, will the money talk?
Yeah.
Money is telling them that they don't have to stop doing anything that they're doing right now.
You know what?
Because they're generating new states and people are still spending. They have.
I mean, that's a tough survey.
To make these kind of changes.
Would I want to merge a bunch of old states, or would I rather take a 50% coupon of what I've spent into a new state? Or 75%, you know, or like whatever, you know, like, because they can't just bring me whole into a new state.
So, honestly, Delete, I feel like I know you and you are a logical guy. I feel like you would take a 50% account. I feel like you would, because you know in the long run there's no way that their 125 is going to, you know, that account that you have vested all this money in is just going to be a dead account anyway. You're not going to have anybody to play with like in 2 years from now, a year from now. So I feel like you would, but I don't know if anybody else would. I don't know if everybody would. I don't know. Delete and Finn, let's just make a game. Let's make a game, and I think we should just charge a monthly fee, like flat off the board, for like advantages, early advantages. And if you're in the tier system, so like you have a different tier of play, level of play, and you play a monthly fee, flat fee to be in the different zones, like echelon levels of play. You have free to play, you have the higher levels, the different, you know, events and glory that you get up there, but it's just a flat fee every month, and that's it. I feel like that would be a good, cool format for a game. And it would be a good money maker.
You know, now that you bring this up, there's another thing I wanted to bring up as well.
What?
The State of Survival has been doing this whole promotion with The Walking Dead. Do you know how much promoting The Walking Dead is doing in their own version of this exact same game?
Yes. I don't know what's going on unless they are actually going to merge the two games, or there's a buyout happening and they're deleting one of them to make another one.
It's so crazy.
What is
it's
going
the
on?
weirdest thing right now, honestly.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for two reasons. Did The Walking Dead sell rights to King's Group to promote a game
Seems
that
like they gave them their
directly
engine.
contradicts their game?
Or maybe they're just confident in their own game. They're like, we'll promote in your own game right in front of you and take your players over to ours.
I don't understand. No, I think there's some kind of they're going to merge
be
it
like
into
a
one
licensing
game.
fee. Like,
Or
it's got to be like, I wrote the song that you're singing, so I get paid anytime they play it anyway.
I'm gonna throw this out there, Delete. This is I don't think this will happen, but I'm gonna throw this out there. The whole 50% concept, right? What if the Walking Dead game said, "Oh, well, we'll give you 50% of what you spend in State of Survival into our game"?
That's their merge. That's their migration. Boom.
Peace. You
I
know,
think that's
all
what it
new
is,
hopes.
too. I really think it was. They're going to merge the two games somehow.
It is the weirdest thing right now, honestly, to see the Walking Dead in State of Survival, and then every time I look on like YouTube or something, there's an ad for the Walking Dead's actual game. But exactly
have you played the actual game? They're absolutely the same game.
I'll also say, like, so at first I like the horizontal, but there's a benefit to the vertical.
Oh, there's total because you can play it. Nobody knows you're playing.
Exactly. They think you're texting and you're like actually doing something serious.
I have that problem
when your game goes horizontal, people know what you're doing.
So at work,
once
we
you go
use
for
our
the flip,
game.
you're done.
When we at work, we use our phones for our text communication, like our groups for the nursing groups and all that. And so it's absolutely acceptable to be on your phone texting, but not sideways playing a damn game. So I can never like sneak a little raid in or whatever.
Oh.
I have but if it was straight up, I could do it.
You know how long at work that I've had to go ahead and sell the buttons are too small, so I always type emails horizontally. I've had to sell that so hard, walking past my boss. And
you tell them you can't see it?
Yeah. I tell them I was like, oh, it's too tough to see, or my thumbs are too big for the buttons. How do you guys deal with the whole vertical thing? Oh,
Leo,
took so long.
Leo, come on
they're
now.
They're different, but they're not so different that the merge can't happen.
They're not that different, dude. It's a lot of the same game. Come on.
Sin, learn to play SOS vertical. Oh my god. It's like Frozen in landscape, and you're playing it in portrait. It is awful. I have tried, by the way, sir. I have tried. It is awful. No, but I honestly, there's a lot of things right now with SOS that's just very confusing, and the whole Walking Dead thing is one of them. Because Walking Dead has their own game. Like, I don't understand what's
multiple
going on between the two.
They've got multiple games, which is strange. I mean, there was like just random games. But the newest one that came out is such it's such a similar Kingdom Builder game. And it's just like, what is this?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I think maybe I'm just getting burnt out on Kingdom Builders. Maybe that's my issue, is like, I played Kingdom Builders for so long. Like, I started out with Happy Kingdom, which was old, like RuneScape old.
RuneScape that's classic.
Yeah.
That's a classic game.
Kingdom
that's one of those
Builders
ones you find
then.
at like you would find at the bin in GameStop back in the day.
That's how I found out about Star Wars Galaxy, was playing an old Kingdom Builder that somebody told me about Star Wars Galaxy. And that was the first, like, what are they called, Finn? What is it? What is Swagga called? Is it like a gacha game or a collection game?
It's a collection game.
So that's where I got onto collection games, but I've always been a Kingdom Builder type player. And I'm just like, I think maybe I'm just getting burnt out on it, because the format of the moving the goalposts and always leveling up, and I understand that whole thing, but then the community outrage every time a new feature comes out and it's not right. It's the same thing on every game, and that's just so frustrating. But
I do hope King's Group is watching and listening.
I do too.
Because like Sin said it in chat. 50% offer to transfer. Best believe I'm gonna do it.
Um,
If you don't do this within your own game to get them to go into other states, you have players willing to go into a different game altogether and lose their income. So I don't think it's in King's Group interest anymore to drag their feet.
yeah, I
They
think
just need to
most
get state
would.
migration done one way or the other, and just put out something.
Or
It has been too long.
put out a survey and ask all of the states from 200 back, would you take a 50% of your account into a new state, like for a 50%, whatever? Would you do this?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's credit. They're not losing.
They're not losing
dime.
money. If
It
you're
wouldn't be so. I can tell you right now, the better way to do it is not to do like a 50% here or 50% there, right? The
It's
better
a
way to do it is to
50%
figure
off
out based
everything.
on how you are in 125 out of whatever maximum it is. So let's say delete is 95% max of what you could be in 125. When you transfer down, instead of 95, you'll get a 90% in state 359 or a 90% in a lower state. It automatically scales it to
Oh.
whatever the max is and whatever your percentage is. That would scale you down to the correct thing and lower it from like 95 to 90 or 85% or something, right?
So
there is a penalty for the transfer, but it's not just like based on what you did. And they will give you an account with that much completed, and you can then proceed.
built the same way that you were building at your level or whatever.
Yep.
So
Yep.
if you're saying if you were, let's say you're at 100% max, and they're saying we can move you to a new state
But it
at
would be 90%.
80% or whatever, 90%, whatever
Mhm.
they choose to do. They should like figure out what that number would be and then put a survey out to everybody from 200 beyond and ask how many people would be willing to do this. And if they get more than 50% of the people saying they will do it, they should do it. Like
Yep.
right off the bat.
Yep.
I can't imagine people not. I mean, because the only thing that I can think of, like, because there are states out there that aren't that big. There are a lot of states out there that don't have any max player, let alone multiple. It'd be like, what? I remember Jeremy was like, yeah, we've got 5 max players. And it'd be like, what, dude? Or 8 max players? And it was just like, for the longest, we only had 2. I think we've got like 4 now, so it's crazy. And like if you get put into a state and they're like, all right, we're going to give you 80%, and then the number one player in that state isn't maxed, you're like, wait, what, man? What? You just dropped me in a janky ass state. I should be able to like view it at that point and be like,
No,
all
you
right,
would be
I'll
able
go
to
here.
pick which state you go to. I think that's what it would
Okay.
be. You would be able to
Yeah.
pick which state you go to. It would
That
scale
would
you
be
not only based on the maximum, but to your point, who was like the maximum in that state. So you're not, even if you're 80%, but the top person is 75% just because you happen to drop into like a very free-to-play heavy state, right? It's not going to put you at the top dog. That's not the goal,
Right.
right? It's to give you back some investment to make you competitive in a new state at a level similar to where you were, but it's relative to that state's configuration. So
Right.
just give you the opportunity to switch into a new state. And that's it. And then you basically get a new account. So it's no longer the same delete in 125. It's just this account that is somewhat equivalent in progress to what you were in 125, but a different state. So your heroes might be progressed different. Your buildings might be progressed a little bit different. But you are 85% of your way to maximum versus where you were 95% in 125. That is your trade-off for the switch. There you go. And then you can decide what you want to do for the rest.
The shittiest thing about it would probably be losing my permanent skins, because I've worked so damn hard
Yeah.
to be only missing.
They might be able to
A
transfer
couple.
those. Keep your
That.
skins, your marches, all that stuff. It just changes your building progress.
Yeah.
You've earned those other things, right? The other stuff you've spent, and now you're willing to change your spending. But the other stuff is stuff that you earned. So I would say you keep the stuff in your backpack. You can keep the stuff in your, except for things that would change your progress. So for example, I would say your plasma goes away. If you have plasma, spend it before you switch, then it'll transfer. Then you'll get that percentage back, right? But certain things you wouldn't be able to keep. Probably biocaps would be reset. Plasma would be reset. Resources you could probably keep. It's just not a huge deal. But there's different things probably that would be reset as part of it. and then you would switch over. So I would say you keep your skins, you would keep your marches, you would keep your teleports, all those kind of things.
Sin has a good point, though. The biggest problem with that would be like there's that weird generation of heroes that the older states got that no other states have because they revamped. They took those heroes out of the mix for new states. And those heroes, people spent a lot of money on those heroes when they came out. So they can't necessarily take those away from them. And then you drop an older player into a state with a new hero, with those heroes. It'll cause a bit of a conflict.
Don't go into the states.
There's certain things that you just have to, you got to be willing to take it on the chin for, to progress yourself into the game. You just got to be willing to be like, oh, it sucks.
Yeah. Either don't go into those states or don't migrate. I mean, it's not mandatory.
Yeah, but it doesn't suck, just fighting one alliance in an entire state, because that's all 125 is.
Yeah.
Everyone fights this one alliance, which happens to be falling apart, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, because they're moving on to another game.
Yeah. I mean, a
and
couple,
I
they
can't
lost
imagine
a millionaire
how much,
and like a core bunch of people.
How much money? Out. Like $300K?
Yeah.
I mean, jump into another game?
Bought
how many salaries does that cover as a dev in a dev team?
Oh my God.
At least, what, 4, 5? At least?
He spent everything on just regular bundles. Not even waiting for the deal. He would max out the store every day.
Every day.
Every day. Until it was to where he wanted to be. It's just insanity.
I just think, I guess that's my whole thing. It's so short-sighted, but at the same time, I do know that other states are spending max like that too, but I don't know.
Yeah, but if you migrate, right, the whole thing is that you're not going to be able to keep anything. You're creating a new account that they are populating. So anything you have, marches and skins would be the exception, I think. Everything else you would expect to be reset.
Yeah, which is fine. I just offer a choice of some kind, I think.
Hell, they could even make it so, like, if Delete's like, I want to transfer my 125 to 359, right? They could actually let you take a tour of what your base would be.
Yeah, this is what it will look like. Do you want to do this?
You can see what plasma level they're giving you.
This is a permanent change. Are you sure?
Yeah. And then you have to confirm that you want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think that's a good solution versus the whole like trying to figure out like merging states and all of that stuff if they're not willing to do it, because to be honest, it's not that difficult of a thing. They can do it because other games are doing it, but if they aren't willing to do it, then maybe this option would work.
There's also the other part too, right? So if we talk about it from a money perspective, right? Let's say they introduce Plasma 8. I'm going to guess, and Delete, you can tell me if I'm wrong. If somebody in your state decides to drop like 50K in a week in order to get everything maxed out to Plasma 8, you're probably not going to chase them. Right?
No.
Versus if you go into 359 and lose 10%, you might be willing to spend 5,000, 6,000 in order to cover the gap that you were previously and build in the new state.
In a vibrant state where everyone's kind of going after it, it would make a lot more sense, because then it's like, okay, this is kind of
I got another year of this. I could play another year here versus you're not going to be able to play another year in 125.
So there's where the money is, right? You cause that gap where they lose that 10% or whatever it is, but now they're in a state that they're more interactive with and they're willing to spend that back. So that's where the money is.
I'm at over 415 days consecutively logged in. It is the longest time that I've ever logged into a mobile game in a row that I can remember.
7, I think. I went on vacation. I'm like, I'm not opening this game.
I'm at like 1.
Oh, you don't farm. That's a problem.
No, we've had this discussion.
Yeah. But like, the dedication to the game that I've had has definitely helped out. When new stuff because I'm a max account, when new stuff comes out, I'm already typically halfway to the level up. You know, like, except for like Red Gear in PTR. Red Gear and PTR, when they released it first, was insanely expensive. I don't even think it's going to be that expensive this time around, but it was insanely expensive. It was like, hey, why don't you just go ahead and drop another 15 grand? And it was just like, what? You know, I don't have enough people in my state that would do that. I don't, not anymore. In 125, it'd be like, oh, the only reason I would do it is probably for, you know, res rate. But that's about it. You know, and I don't even think I would need to do it for that because that's equally matched.
Look at Leo. So, he said, my account is 38 days now. Not open the game. Stay strong,
wow.
buddy.
Wow.
Leo, come watch my Diablo stream. You'll enjoy it. I'm gonna get Leo to come play Diablo with me. He'll enjoy it. All right.
One other thing I'll mention, I know we're gonna end the stream a little bit early today. I do want to mention something good.
Oh, yay!
Have you seen the new formation stuff in game? So they have finally made the change that we requested. The selection for the formations is no longer on the top. It is on the side.
Mm-hmm.
So no longer interferes with those pop-ups about troops returning and marches starting.
Yeah.
So that is awesome. And they gave us an additional formation. So instead of 3, if you're at VIP 7, there is 4. So I have to give credit where it's due. That was something we had talked about a few times, and they made the change. So nicely done to the devs on that one. That was much needed.
I agree. I think it was a good change, and like that's quality of life change right there, because it makes a big difference to the gameplay. That was probably one of the most annoying things ever. So I'm glad that they did. Oh, next K. Thank you, Ronnie K, for. Gosh, I'm terrible with my codes. Forget them all the time. The next.
Oh, I'm sure it's taken from another game, Leo, but still, they needed to make that change in ours.
Leo, we're trying to end most of the streams on a good note, so we don't sound like we're ranty all the time, but we are ranty all the time.
Well, maybe they should take state migration things from KOA. I'm just going to throw that out there. Just,
You know what's crazy is they've never really like compiled all the best things from all the games. Like, oh, I really like this about Transylvania and Mega Man, and made a game off of that. I don't understand why no one's ever done that.
Yeah, it's called World of Warcraft. It's there.
It's called Diablo Immortal. Dag on it.
Oh my god. Love World of Warcraft.
Yeah, but battles in World of Warcraft aren't that great.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
No,
oh my
you
god.
two are gonna play that other one with me, because if you love World of Warcraft, this is what you need to play, Finn. We'll play it after this.
Diablo 2 I'm a big fan of Diablo 2. That's
Diablo Immortal is fantastic. Okay, the next gift code is, who is Nikki?
I don't know.
If you guys don't know who Nikki is, well, I don't know who this Nikki is.
Who is Nikki? Please explain to me who this Nikki is.
This Nikki's different because this Nikki is spelled different, but like our Nikki, Killer Nikki.
Oh, is this like a brothel hotel Nikki? Is that the who's Nikki?
Out of context, people are going to take that out of context, Finn, and that's going to sound terrible.
It's not the same one. You just talked about it.
This is Head Nurse Nikki.
Not doing it.
Head Nurse Nikki. Homeless hotel Head Nurse Nikki. And it's with 2 Ks. It is different than the other Nikki.
You guys are talking about my right hand. You guys are talking about my right hand of justice here.
Yeah.
You know, the first time you said that, you did not include the word justice. You just said, you're talking about my right hand. This is not...
Finn. If Nero wasn't sick, he's gonna beat you.
Nero's the one that told us the story about the hotel.
That's true. Nero did.
Just saying.
Tell Nero to get well soon. We have to go to Mexico. We're planning a Mexican trip.
To get sick again on tequila.
We are planning a trip soon. Yeah. Should I probably go ahead and give the third code?
What, Nikki? What?
It's spelled wrong. You're right. Nikki. It is spelled
That
wrong.
hotel sounded lovely.
She's gonna
Mexico.
just constantly remind you of not having chocolate.
All
No,
right.
I sent it to her.
The third
She
one,
has her chocolate.
the third code is, this is another Nikki reference. I want to be a couponer. This is very difficult to type out, by the way. Nikki had a rant about wanting to be a couponer recently, so that's where that came from on the last stream. It was pretty funny.
I will admit, when I get coupons in the mail, like I always go through all of them. I have like in the door of my vehicle, a whole bunch of coupons for Checkers, Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's. So when I'm like, I don't know what to get, I randomly stick my hand in the door and pick out a coupon, and that is how I decide what I'm going to eat.
I get those books.
That makes sense because you wouldn't clip a coupon for something that you didn't like.
Exactly. So you save the coupons for the things you like, you put them in your door, and then when you're trying to decide stuff like that, I just straight up take it.
I get those books. Do you remember those books that the schools will sell?
Yeah,
Attraction
those books are awesome for like restaurants. And
I
stuff.
love them.
They're awesome.
And
They're usually bigger deals than they normally get anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But they're
Those you
always
have to pay
like
for 'em.
every other third Tuesday. They're like random days.
Yeah, but you have to pay for the book, but you definitely make back that if you're actually like gonna go out to eat and stuff. You make it back.
Oh, yeah.
easy.
Nikki said, I'm going to have a whole room just for the excessive amount of bulk items I'm going to buy. Yeah, well, Mr. McVie is a prepper, like a doomsday prepper. And you two would be in heaven together as far as
What
like,
I don't
prepping.
understand, so I've seen these like couponing shows. Some of these people get like these massive amounts of like, I don't know, soups and all other kinds of things, right? There's no way they eat those in enough time. So that just means they expire and then you have to throw them out. So then instead of like all this amount that you're saving, they're literally
Expiration
it
dates don't matter in
depends.
doomsday times. What are you talking about?
Oh,
I
so
have
you
seen
become
someone.
sick.
I have seen someone where it's like, oh, limit per customer is 5, and they're using that 5, and they're like, I'm just going to come back in if you just don't re-ring me as a new
Yeah.
customer. And it's just like, wow,
So
lady, Jesus. And it was like cranberry juices, which have like a shelf life of like 3 years anyway. So
okay,
it was like a whole cart.
can I tell you the cutest thing ever? My grandma used to coupon. She used to be one of those crazy couponers, and I always I thought it was ridiculous. And then I found out she was a crazy couponer that would go in and get like 10 toothpastes and things like that, right? Like, what are you doing? And she would have like a small stash, like she'd have like 3 or 4 on her shelf, but that was it. She took the rest of them and she'd donate them to women's shelters and homeless shelters. Like, so she couponed for fun, like as a hobby, but then donate everything to all the shelters and stuff that she got. So I was like, that's kind of
really
cute.
nice. That's really nice.
All the codes work, by the way, if anybody was wondering. I was just checking them. Last time we didn't have any coupon.
Is Nikki telling us something?
You do it when you have kids. More mouths to feed, more people to eat the food. Yeah, she's like having her own conversation here in chat.
She is, but then she says, I'm going to have a whole room just for excessive amount of bulk items I'm going to buy. You do it when you have kids, more mouths to feed. So.
Oh, no, she better not be telling us something. We would be the first to know.
Nikki wouldn't do it like that.
No, she would not. Nikki would not.
She's probably going to have one hell of a baby, like, gender reveal thing, though. I could see that being something that she would do.
Yeah. Gonna have a big party. All right,
probably
guys.
at a gun range. Yeah, it's 10:15.
It's 10:15. I kept it pretty close, Eric B.
I know I said you can't eat it before you expire, but it still doesn't explain why you would have a whole room of excessive bulk items.
Ben, not everybody thinks like everything out logically like you do. You just have it because you have it.
I know, but Nikki's playing Magic the Gathering now.
I know, which is awesome.
Let's see.
I wish we could get together and play it in person. It's so much more fun in person. And so is D&D. It's very fun in person.
You can just put it on camera.
Yeah, we need to do a D&D game soon. Delete would be fun. Nikki and Nero would be fun with D&D, I think. Okay.
I've never played.
It's hilarious. We had a really good time that Saturday night.
You both.
For
She's getting
getting
obsessed
your
with
own Magic the
Gathering.
Gathering. Yeah. It's a great game. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. It's
Wrap it
10:15.
up, B.
Finn, what's the surprise?
Nothing. Continue.
Got her again. He's just gonna have to wait until next Friday.
Why would you tell me at the beginning of the stream if it wasn't going to be something you were going to let me know during the stream?
You can't let it go, can you?
I
There's
can't.
no way you can let it go.
Leo's like, good night, ranters. Good night, Leo. We rant because that's what we do. We don't rant. Were we ranting?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
Let's talk about state migration. What do you think of state migration?
Okay, maybe a little ranting.
We broke the record on how long I haven't talked in the stream in I don't know when.
Oh, don't worry, Denzel. You'll make it up later.
I'm gonna chat at Kathy over here.
All right, guys. We're going to call the stream. It was good. It was fun. It was short, but it was sweet. Thank you all for tuning in, hanging out. Who all was in here? Oh my gosh, there's so many people. Letty, Leo, Nikki, Sin, Savitar. Oh my gosh. Who else was in here? Vicky Melody, Eric B, Ronnie K, Sexy Wolf, Nowie Subs, and Froggy IP.
Froggy.
I think I got everybody in there. We had quite a few in chat. Thank you guys for all tuning in. We appreciate it, and we will see you on next Friday. Thanks to Delete, Finn, and all you guys. We appreciate you, and you guys have a great night. Okay, bye.
Rock on, Alan.